This ball in is a good one, and it's headed over. There was the chance for Pinnock.
So it was sweet, sweet revenge for Guatemala, and they brought the Jamaicans back crashing down to earth. We will discuss it all on this Jamaica versus Guatemala review show. Yeah, people, welcome back to Jamaican Fun, and well, I'm in a somber mood as the Guatemalans exact their revenge after losing this 6 days ago. But I got 3 takeaways from the Reggae Boyz' first loss of the Gold Cup. Starting with point number 1, they went missing. Alright, first of all, of course, we have to start with the starting lineup, and before the lineup came out, we were already aware that midfielder Isaac Hayden has left the camp and possibly went back home. So of course, the first eyes was going to be on who exactly replaced him at the number 6 position, and I wasn't really surprised to see Damian Lowe there because we have no other, especially CDM, in our squad. From there, my eyes turned to the centre-back pairing. Mason Holgate seemed to still having a knock, so Pinnock comes in to join Richard King at the back. While the Guatemalans, well, as promised, they made major changes, 9 in fact, and brought back their star players, Hehera as well as Santis down the right-hand side. Now, when the game started, the Guatemalans came out the block firing on all cylinders and up the tempo from minute 1. We were hanging about just a bit, but it was clear, especially when you see the shot from Santis, that the Guatemalans were here to play. They were dominating the majority of the possession and routinely made their way through our lines to get some decent looks at our goal. And even better, when the Jamaicans had possession in their own final third, the Guatemalans compact the midfield and picked the right moment to launch a good, decisive, full team pressing to throw the Jamaicans off their game. But of course, with Damian Lowe playing in the number 6 position, we didn't really have a facilitator to take the ball off the centre backs and move it up through the lines and up to our front 3. For the first 35 minutes of the game, Gray was more of a spectator than a football player as he hardly touched the ball, while Bailey and Cephas were once again having a tough time to find their footing in the game. But after that, finally the Reggae Boyz seemed to get their footing and seemed to now settle the ball a bit and was now trying to work their way back into the game. They even carve up a decent chance down the left-hand side from Cephas, one of his very few on the night, but the Guatemalans were resolute in defense and managed to get it off for safety. But I, as a spectator, was now thinking maybe, just maybe, the Jamaicans will find a way to come out on top, as it seemed that they are finally settled, but the Guatemalans quickly went down the other end and snuffed out any false hope like that out of my head. Here I had all the time right here to try and find something with a route 1 ball at the top of the D. King reached the ball first but failed to clear it before the Guatemalans neatly worked the ball around and got this back heel off for the main danger man Santis, who got his shot off and into the back of the net. 1-0 to the Guatemalans, and it came at the perfect time as the Reggae Boyz were just about looking like they were getting into the game. From there though, they were just watchful and just picked their moments when they should come at us, especially in the second half where they allowed the Jamaicans have more of the possession, keep things compact before they launch some counters going the other end. The Jamaicans, for their part, simply lacked cutting edge once again to break down a mid to low block, which was evident in that second half. Despite we had majority of the ball, the Guatemalans were really the ones unlucky to not extend them lead, especially towards the end. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but the midfield was a key issue here. Even when Lowe went to centre back at half and Latibadier came into midfield, we still never have anybody to drop deep and put their stamp on the ball and control the game's tempo. It was a tough night for the likes of John Russell, who hardly got a chance to sneak into the box to do something, while Warner Brown hustled and bustled as he often does, where service and chances were at a premium. But maybe one could see that this midfield issue was always going to occur when you look back on this 26-man squad that was chosen for the Gold Cup, and Steve McLaren only really picking 5 specialist midfielders, and 2 of them could not even make the matchday squad. We were always going to live or die on the health status of Hayden and even Jonathan Russell, because we really don't have a prime backup for those 2 players. And while I wouldn't really throw the blame all on Damian Lowe and for his performance in the middle of the park, but it should finally be clear to anybody that he's not a suitable replacement at the number 6 position. While Gray at the number 10 position is also one of concern, as he didn't do much for 50 plus minutes. The only good thing I can take out of the game overall is 2 substitutes making some decent cameos. I thought Dexter Lemakisa looked very good going forward for the second half, while Palmer did not look too bad when he came in, as he tried to drop deep and try to be the only player to move the ball forward through the lines. But in the end, this was a damning reflection just how imbalanced is the Gold Cup squad. Alright, moving on to point number 2, mind games. If you were paying attention to the Guatemalans leading up to this match, they all spoke about getting their revenge and promising a totally different game once they faced us in Carson. And from minute 1, you could clearly see they were not joking. I had to tip my hat off to them. They clearly brought some great intensity, and with the fans backing them all night long, every one of their players put in a tremendous shift on that pitch. Their link-up play was quite good, and how quickly their front three rotated and moved the ball, especially in the first half, was quite impressive. But what stood out to me is just how much they were winning the physical battles. They went toe-to-toe with each of our players on the pitch. They were running harder than us, and they were capturing any knockdowns that came their way. And even when we tried to step up our physicality to try and match them, they decided to be our pace and got into the Reggae Boyz' heads. When they're not chirping away, they would come about and fling a 1 and 2 shoulder, push many of our players any chance they got, and absolutely refuse us any chance to use our speed, as they would grab our shirt any opportunity that came their way. Sure, the referee did not help out, and I can't believe after the 5th shirt was grabbed that no yellow card was given, but you could clearly see it was having a mental effect on our players, as a lot of them was getting angry and lost focus on the match. It wasn't the most sportsmanlike from Guatemala, but it was very, very effective from them tonight. Alright, point number 3 now, where we go from here. Well, Potted, it's obvious we go to San Jose and take on Guadeloupe in a must-win encounter in the second match of the Gold Cup. But more importantly, the players and coaching staff have to take a deep reflection of what exactly went on tonight. It was quite an humbling experience after the big win in Kingston 6 days ago, and it was a timely reminder that in football, you have to bring your best every time you step on out of the pitch. But it also highlights that we still have issue in our player pool. Before Isaac Hayden came in and made his debut for the Reggae Boyz, we were screaming and begging for a quality number 6, and it was great that we found one, but that was the problem, we only found one. If Isaac Hayden cannot play, this midfield is in shutters, and we really have to keep up the search for a suitable replacement. There were mentions of the likes of Brandon Cover, but again, I'm not sure what happened with him. The coach brought him in at the Unity Cup in England and, well, didn't give him any minutes. So I guess he's not quite happy with the youngster. But we have to step up the search for somebody else then, because tonight was a prime reminder just how pivotal that number 6 role is to the team. Alright, before I wrap up here, let's look at 3 key figures from the game, and we will start with Redola Cephas. He went up against Hera and Herrera for majority of the night, and I felt the Guatemalan had a masterclass performance to stop the speedy winger. It was clear that they did their homework on the Jamaican, and this is another great example that he needs to add more artillery to his armory. Because when speed doesn't work, what does he do next? The other player I want to look at quickly is Warner Brown. Again, I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, it was a tough night for him. Service wasn't really there, and while there were some plays he could have done a little bit better in holding up the ball, I thought it was a decent effort from the young man. This is what international football is all about. He got roughed up a bit, and he should take the experience and hopefully get better to come good again for the next match. The last player I want to look at now is Ethan Pinnock. I felt that for a decent part of the game, especially in the first half, he did look rusty, but by the time the second half came about, his class was starting to show. And I guess it comes at the right time, because with Lowe now going out with injury, we are now looking very short at the centre-back positions. Also, it was a damn shame he could not get a header at the end on target. But anyway, guys, that's all I got from this review show. A big loss for the Jamaicans once more, as the Guatemalans got their 3 points in this first matchup in Group C. The Jamaicans have their work cut out for them to stay in the tournament, as Panama topped the group with 3 points after their 5-2 victory over Guadeloupe, which means another loss for the Reggae Boyz and they will be out. But let me know what you guys think of the Reggae Boyz performance tonight in the comment section below. Otherwise, thank you all for watching, and please like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you up to date on everything on the Jamaican national team all the way through the remaining Gold Cup matches. Otherwise, for great Reggae Boyz content, you're already at the right place. Jump Fan. YouTube, big up yourself.